What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Michael Bisping goes to bat for Jon Anik after Colby Covington threats. After Jon Anik went to bat for Michael Bisping following accusations of bias during the UFC 286 broadcast, the Count, a UFC Hall of Famer, is now returning the favor by defending his broadcast partner. In the wake of Colby Covington controversially being named the welterweight #1 contender, he took aim at longtime commentator Jon Anik, threatening to leave the fan-favorite broadcaster's children fatherless. The comments didn't sit well with much of the MMA community, with fighters quickly stepping up to defend Anik, and others, like Belal Muhammad, declaring it on site with the controversial fighter.
The same way that Khabib walked up to Artem and slapped him, that's what I'm going to do to Colby Covington if I see him. I'm going to make him apologize to Jon Anik, and he will do that because that's what he is. He's a coward.
During a recent video, Bisping defended Anik against Covington's claims of being unprofessional, while sympathizing with Belal Muhammad, who has seemingly been passed up for a #1 contender opportunity.
Jon Anik, he's in the clear. He's not going to get murdered. He's not being unprofessional. He's just stating facts. The reality is it's not hard to feel bad for Belal. The man has won 8 in a row. He does have unfinished business with Leon Edwards. Now, of course, Colby Covington lost 2 title fights in a row to Kamaru Usman. Okay, I don't know if it was 2 in a row. He actually beat Tyron Woodley. Last time out, went out there and beat Jorge Masvidal. And he hasn't fought. That's been about a year now.
According to UFC President Dana White, the promotion is working to finalize a fight between Belal Muhammad and Shavkat Rakhmonov. However, Muhammad apparently has no interest in fighting someone below him in the rankings. With a big win at UFC 287, Gilbert Burns, who is currently ranked number 5 at welterweight, could pass number 4 ranked Muhammad, setting up a fight between the two. With Leon Edwards adamant that he has no plans to accept the fight with Colby Covington, how do you see the title picture playing out at welterweight? Jorge Masvidal reacts to recent controversial claims from Joe Rogan. Longtime UFC commentator Joe Rogan recently found himself in hot water with the MMA community when he stated that the modern era of welterweights like Jorge Masvidal are on another level compared to the competition Georges St. Pierre faced during his welterweight title runs. Many believe that Rogan was simply trying to praise Masvidal, given that the BMF was an upcoming guest on the podcast. However, the comments still earned him plenty of criticism. After his recent appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience, Masvidal spoke to MMA Junkie Radio, where he praised Rogan for being an encyclopedia of fight knowledge. As he explained, when the two were recording the recent podcast episode, Rogan repeatedly showcased a wealth of knowledge on boxers and MMA fighters. He then reacted to Rogan's claims that he's on another level compared to the competition of Georges St. Pierre.
So for him to consider me one of the better fighters I've ever lived is man, that's a real life notch right there, bro, for me, man. Because that guy, you know, I consider him a true connoisseur of the sport, you know, and he calls it the way he is and stuff in fights. I don't think he's a biased dude, man. You know, so I really enjoy his commentary as well. So I just feel like, man, that's awesome that he would put me up there like that.
What did you make of Rogan's comments? Bo Nickal's win over Jamie Pickett won't be overturned. Although Jamie Pickett was hopeful that his UFC 285 loss to Bo Nickal would be overturned, given what appears to be a pretty clear low blow early on in the fight, there are no grounds for an appeal, according to Nevada State Athletic Commission Executive Director Jeff Mullen. Per the NSAC's guidelines, the only 3 scenarios that warrant a potential overturning of a decision would be if there was evidence of collusion, an error in scorecards, or a referee renders an incorrect decision. According to another NSAC spokesman, Pickett's team was informed that there was no grounds for an appeal. As a result, Pickett and his team wound up declining to file an appeal. Pickett's agent released a statement on the matter, saying, "I still remain hopeful that cases like ours will continue to shape future conversations regarding judging and officiating that are called into question." After speaking to a representative of the Nevada State Athletic Commission, we, as a combat sports community, should be more diligent in pushing for the tough conversations to better advocate for our fighters. Do you think the fight should have been overturned as a result of the low blow? Before we continue, make sure you give that like button some love, and be sure to subscribe to the MMA Zone for all of the latest news. Leon Edwards' coach questions Colby Covington's title shot. Leon Edwards' coach, Dave Lavelle, found himself quite confused when Colby Covington was named the welterweight division's #1 contender recently. Like much of the fight community, he believes that Covington getting a title shot after a win over Jorge Masvidal doesn't make much sense given the landscape of the division. In the wake of Edwards saying that he has no plans to accept the fight against Covington, Rocky's coach spoke on the MMA Hour to discuss the situation, weighing in on a big upcoming welterweight clash by saying that although he'd like to see Edwards finally get his revenge on Jorge Masvidal, a fight with Gilbert Burns would make much more sense given his spot in the rankings should the former title challenger get a win at UFC 287.
What justifies him really to get jump the queue and get a fight when you've got Burns and our arch rival, Mr. Masvidal, fighting soon? Even though we should take the winner of that. Hopefully, I'd like it to be Masvidal because it's not only a good fight, there's personal to be sorted. But should Burns win, you know what I mean? Then, it'd only be justified if Burns just being in the top 5 gets a second bite of the cherry because all the rest of them have.
Although Lavelle doesn't believe Covington deserves a title shot, he said that at the end of the day, he'll go along with whatever the champion wants to do. Do you think the UFC ends up getting Edwards to accept a fight with Colby Covington? UFC booking roundup. Several big reports emerged this week regarding a handful of fighters set for the coming months. First up, we have a thrilling showdown between Arman Tsarukyan and Renato Moicano set for April 29th. The fight is expected to headline the Fight Night card, with the UFC also recently announcing a bout between Nathan Levy and Pete Rodriguez for the same event. Both men, Moicano and Tsarukyan, will be looking to keep the momentum rolling after picking up wins late last year. Next up on the calendar, we have a clash between Daniel D-Rod Rodriguez and Ian Machado Gary on tap for May 13th. The fight will mark a massive step up in competition for Gary, who has rattled off 4 straight victories inside the octagon, while Rodriguez will be looking to bounce back from a submission loss to Neil Magny back in November. On June 3rd, Jack Hermansson and Brendan Allen will square off in a Fight Night main event as Hermansson looks to bounce back from a TKO loss to Roman Dolidze late last year. On the flip side, Allen will be looking to make it 5 straight inside the octagon after submitting Andre Muniz last month. Last but certainly not least, we have another fight on the June 3rd card between David Onama and Hussein Ashkabov, where Onama will look to bounce back from a majority decision loss to Nate Landwehr late last summer. On the flip side, Ashkabov will be looking to bounce back from the first loss of his professional career. Drop your predictions for these fights below. Muhammad Mokaev gives update on knee after fighting off insane submission. At UFC 286, Muhammad Mokaev got caught in a knee bar that left fight fans both amazed and horrified as the undefeated fighter refused to tap out despite his leg being visibly bent the wrong way. Somehow, the streaking flyweight managed to turn the tides and secure a 3rd-round submission win despite the damage that had been done to his knee. After the fight, a clearly compromised Mokaev had many wondering about the extent of the damage to his knee. While many feared he would be sidelined for months, he gave a promising update on his status this week on Twitter. 6 to 8 weeks, I will be back training. Thank you for all your messages. I received crazy amount of support about my knee. It's a strap season for me and my people. In a follow-up tweet, Mokaev revealed that he was diagnosed with a grade 2 partial MCL tear. With the win, Mokaev found himself just outside of the flyweight division's top 10. With a short layoff for the next 6 to 8 weeks, he will be able to resume his journey toward UFC gold sooner than anticipated. When he makes his return to the octagon, who do you want to see him square off against? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. And now for our breaking news story of the day. We have UFC fighter Marvin Vettori getting into an altercation with pro boxer Omar Nguale Ilunga at a DAZN boxing event. Vettori's friend, who is a rapper, allegedly got into physical altercation with the pro boxer, which then escalated into a full-on brawl where Marvin Vettori knocked down the rapper with a couple of punches. We can't show footage due to YouTube's policy, but you can go find it on the internet. What do you guys think about Marvin Vettori being involved in this altercation? Should the UFC fine fighters for their involvement? Thanks for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell to stay up to date with MMA news every day. Here are the top comments from yesterday's video. Islam Makhachev versus Beneil Dariush will be incredible. Let's make it happen. Someone replied with, I fell asleep while you were typing in that matchup. Jorge couldn't even hold GSP's jockstrap bag. Not the jockstrap itself or the packaging that it came in, but the bag that the package strap was placed in after purchase. That thing. It's not impossible for Jorge to have that shot at Leon, but he has to take out Burns impressively. And those were the top comments from yesterday's video. If you want to be featured on our next video, make sure to leave a comment and don't forget to check out yesterday's video in case you missed it. Thank you so much for joining us today. What do you make of what's going on in the fight world? Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all the latest news from the MMA Zone. See you next time.